Why was this one experimental? We are going to have to look that up.
The F-86 was a fighter plane built from 1947 to 1956. They built almost 10,000 of these in a few different countries: USA, Japan, Italy, Australia, and Canada. This one was built in Canada, and it was one of the last ones built. It was construction number 1021, and Canada built 1,800 of them by Canadair up in Montreal.
That looks like a nuclear bomb. Wow. I think that is.
This aircraft flew with the Royal Canadian Air Force for 16 years, mostly with Squadron 421. It went to France, it served in France when it was brand new. It was there for about 6 years before it went back to Canada for an overhaul. By 1970, it was sold to private enterprise. By 72, it was owned by a company in Washington, D.C.
Well, there's something weird mounted on the top of this airplane. 4-engine jet. A lot of engines. C-140 Jetstar. This one was flown by NASA's Dryden Flight Research Center from 1964 to 1989 on a variety of projects applicable to civilian aircraft. Built by Lockheed, the aircraft arrived at the Dryden in May 1963 and carried tail number 814. Dryden, in cooperation with the Lewis Research Center, used the Jetstar to investigate the acoustic characteristics of a series of blah 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 blah. You want to keep reading? Go ahead. Hit freeze frame. It's a small plane. What is this? This is a pretty good little entranceway. I like it. What is this? I'm super curious to know why the Salty Dog does not have landing gear on it. And it's got a weird little finny down there. I wonder if they all have that.
This aircraft has a very unique history. It's actually been made from two aircraft that have been crashed. The first one was a two-seat F-16, and it crashed into the Gulf of Mexico when a sensor went wrong. The front of the aircraft was crushed. The airplane was recovered and brought back to base, and they removed the crushed front piece and began to use it as a maintenance trainer. They need full-size real aircraft to train maintenance personnel, so they use damaged ones for obvious reasons. In 1989, a single-seat F-16 had a bird strike immediately after takeoff, and the pilot set the airplane back down on the remaining runway, but he went off the end, and there was a fire, and it burned up most of the plane, but not the front. So they decided to make a single aircraft out of it, but they never could put power to it. But you can, change tires, take a wing off, put it back on. You can do all kinds of maintenance issues with the aircraft. You don't have to care that much about it. So it's a very useful piece of equipment. I don't know how it got here to Palmdale, but here it is. Perhaps it was on the other side of the airport training maintenance personnel, or perhaps the final grafting was done here, but I don't think it was. I think it was done in Texas.
So this airplane is pretty special. I wonder how many miles it really has on it. Probably not all that many. And I think it got all of its modifications right here.
It is freaking massive.
It is just ginormous. And
look how high
the tail got added.
The tail there, or that.
Well, I know that the captain's window is 44 feet off the ground. And the top of the tail. Well, how high is that? Like 90? 100? It's ridiculous. That's insanely big,
It is insane.
How fat the thing is. Got 4 sets of landing gear. Let's go in there, see what we can see. Jeez. The tires aren't really all that big, maybe 3.5 feet high. Big, heavy looking doors. They tuck in. These ones look like they go straight forward. And this guy, it just goes straight into this compartment here. Yeah, it folds right there and in it goes. That's just massive. We can get right underneath it. I'm going to put a sticker on this antenna. Who knows what all that crap is? I don't touch anything. She looks like she's heavily worn from here. You can have a look at an engine. They're also huge. Oh, they got it all plastic off. The bypass part of it.
Birds just find everywhere to go.
Yeah. I wonder if this has something to do with starting it. Only 2 aircraft carried the Space Shuttle, and this is one of them. And that big rack on top there. The other one's in Houston, Texas. And it has a mock-up of a Space Shuttle mounted on it. The mock-up's made of wood. Hey look, you can kind of get up on this little pogo mount here of this B-52. And have a look at her. It's like quite a bit of reinforcing behind the cockpit there. I wonder what that's all about. That kind of looks like it's been added. It looks like 4 bolts hold the front of the Space Shuttle on. Look like they're about an inch thick. Electronic equipment access. I wonder if you could climb in that way. I bet you that's a way to climb in, because you're in the bay underneath the floor. That you can get right into the airplane that way. And that's why there's a lock on it. Cool. B-2 doesn't have any fuel in the fuselage, I do not believe. It's all in the wings, and these ginormous wingtip pods. I mean, that pod's got to be 25 feet long.
And they have their own landing gear?
They have a pogo out there, so they, yeah, like it's center mount landing gear, so they kind of. That one looks fully collapsed right now. They look, I think they're normally quite a bit lower. And here's an engine. Here's an engine. Got a picnic table underneath the wing. Sure looks like they got the, I wonder what's underneath all that. The burn section. I'd love to see one of these things in half. Look how thick that wing is. Nice F-14 Tomcat sitting here. Anytime, baby, she says on her. And something's telling me there's a flight test story here, because that looks like a weird mount out on the wing there. It's got Felix rules on the fuel tanks. Is this normal, what's going on the bottom of it, in the middle? This humpy thing with the door, and then clearly something mounts in there. You see that? There's some belly thing that mounts in there. Maybe it's just a fuel tank. I'm gonna have to research that. These planes are famous for the targeting system that they developed for it, and the Phoenix missiles. This thing's got everything. It's got cannon, it's got everything. Get it? Everything required to ruin your day. And here's your last example. When fighters started to get really big, it had to do with engine development. And they became interceptors. This thing flew in the Vietnam War, I believe. WW-416, I wonder what this one did. Got a starfighter next to it. Let's see what the plaque says. F-105 Thunder Chief by Republic Aircraft Corporation. Oh, and here's the data on this particular plane. That's pretty cool. Well done. And I'm wondering about this 104. Single seater sitting here. 70915. Man and a missile. This wing can't have anything on it. This one is stripped down. Just a rocket. Let's see what it says over here. Got one of these great plaques. And this one, 1959. This was flight test from 1967. When it was 8 years old, it became flight test, and it did flight test for not all that long, 6 years. And has been parked for 50 years. It's been parked. 51 years. I think it would need a little work. Yeah. Oh, and here's a little older one. This squadron was based at, let's see, well, that way, about 400 miles, I think. I passed a little to the left of Las Vegas. What did this one do? These are some great plaques, I gotta say. And quite a few different air forces bought this airplane. This is a two-seater right here, so it's a trainer. Super great plaques. She needs some paint. Got her speed brakes deployed. Whenever you see a state upler like that, it's usually the Air National Guard is the last one that used it. I'm guessing Arkansas Air National Guard. Somehow they parked it with the speed brakes way the hell out there. Wow, this one looks like it got a fresh paint job on the tail. And the wing, not so. If you see one with the engines in it, they actually stick out quite a ways. They come quite a ways out. Big metal tubes of power. What is this over here? That's a searchlight. And the whole tail is coated with heavy metal, so you can deal with the weight. But I want to look at what this thing is. I think that's an F5, and she looks like she's getting in paint restoration. Nice little hangar by Big Top.